tower defense game that is inspired by balloons. Tower defense games, according to Steam statistics, the tech statistics, isn't a very good game to make.
Why did this game fail? Or this one? Or this one? It feels like a toss-up if you make an indie title. You have no idea where the dice will fall. And it only gets worse when you realize only 4% of games will turn a profit. Talk about some bad odds. But some succeed, right? So why can't I? That's the age-old question. There has to be some method to the madness, some secret sauce that gets games to fly off the shelf.
I have it.
As Benjamin Anderson puts it, if you are looking for an indie dev game guru with a secret ingredient, silver bullet, or some simple trick to becoming a successful game developer, then you're in the wrong place. However, there are tried and true business processes that when followed can drastically decrease the likelihood of failure. Basic steps to make sure any indie game has potential to succeed. And it starts with changing your passion. The first problem indie developers run into is they focus too much on an idea. A passion project usually modeled after...
What do you mean? Hey? I thought it would be the first mistake would be to focus on money. Like, if you have a passion, like, wouldn't that make sense? If you have a passion for a project, you can feel the love. Okay, let him cook. Okay, fine. We're letting him cook.
These developers start strong, and their dream game drives them forward. But then they hit a few bumps in the road. These developers realize coding is hard, or they realize they aren't that artistic, or their music isn't great. Whatever it is, the feeling of inadequacy kicks in.
Oh, I think his point is to make the passion take that big thing, and like... make it a bit smaller, right? So that you have like still the passion, but you make a smaller scope. Maybe that's his point.
And these once passionate developers struggle with imposter syndrome, feeling like they can't do it or that game development isn't for them. Even the developers that do finish their games often put their passion in the wrong place, because when their game hits the store and it doesn't sell, they give up.
Holy shit, Dutch, mostly negative. Okay. Oh man. Didn't we see a trailer of this? Oh god, why? What is going on here? Trash? Piece of trash? Wait, why is it only positive reviews showing here? Most helpful reviews. Love the game? Well, it's still in early access. The devs are really taking notes on what the community wants. Once you get the lay of the map, playing other side gets really fun. I don't think so, bro. Paid reviewers. Yeah, I think these are actually paid reviewers. Okay, the idea of the game is good, but there's some stuff that needs to get better. The mechanic of the game is uncomfortable. So that brings us back to tedious. Camera's so bad, when someone is too close to you, the camera starts shaking or going close and far. You can see through the other player's yourself body. Oh god, the UI is ugly. And confusing a little bit. And is this like a new way of saying when? When it's your first time playing, it's not easy to find out what to do. The maximum time per task is not enough. It should be increased. When you don't know what to do, I think you should at least choose... Okay, holy moly. Nice idea, does not look bad either. It has potential, but the lack of optimization and the amount of glitches are insane. You can't get bored so easily in this game. There's no scary moment jump scare. For me at least. Goodness, goodness, goodness. Dirge. I remember this being advertised a lot, and people said this was gonna be bad. Weren't people hyped for... Oh god. I've seen enough. Okay, I've seen enough. Okay. Yeah?
A failure. This mentality is the reason why 75% of developers on Steam have only released one game. For the amount of time it takes to make a game and learn the skills to do it, you think more developers would take what they learned and try again. But they don't. Because the majority of developers...
Hey, don't show Randy! He's working hard on his game, okay, bro? See, streamed 4 weeks ago. 7 days till demo release. Crunk time. Did he release his demo? The demo is out. See? So it is out now, guys. So he's still going strong on the game. He's still working hard. Really nice. So this guy's wrong, okay? Don't shit on Randy, okay, bro? Like, Randy is doing great.
Lose the passion for what they are creating, sadly putting their heart and soul into something that will never see the light of day. But this
you can't say that, bro.
Failure stems from having your priorities in the wrong place. Don't put your passion in an idea.
Cakez, by the way, wrong. Wrong, absolutely wrong, bitch. I'm still working on my game, okay? I just can't work on the weekends right now because I'm gonna have a baby, you bitch, okay? And I'm not earning enough money to keep on doing this, okay?
That is the only fucking reason, you dumb fucking idiot, okay? You stupid
of creation. Have passion for building, making, testing. These are the elements you should learn to love when you are building games or anything really. My favorite example of this mentality was John Romero and id Software, the creators of Doom. These guys were animals back in the day. John Romero stated in his book that Carmack, Tom, and I had each been making games for 10 years before we started working together.
Damn.
It was another few years before we made Doom, and that was my 90th game. It's incredible that John made 90 games before working on Doom.
That's really cool,
What is more interesting...
But hey, we made a couple of games too, right? We made Vampire Survivors in C++, Vampire Survivors in Godot. We made Celeste Clone in C++ and in Godot. We made Tower Survivors, but we didn't finish it.
is that it took almost 15 years before John and his team found global success. So when asked about his success, John Romero said this: execution is everything. Success is not defined by an idea. It is determined by your ability to execute on that idea.
Okay.
Give yourself time to get good, and don't be dissuaded by setbacks. Game
True.
development is
True.
like gameplay.
Yeah.
Load your save and try again.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the
true.
first step
True.
is to change
See,
your
you know,
passion.
guys, what loading your save means? You know what that means? Changing from Vulkan to OpenGL because it's easier. For example, that's me reloading a save. And basically swapping out the renderer. That took me a couple of months, but we got through it. We never quit. That was the
Change the way
hardest
you
time in
think.
my game development journey. Or reworking the entire engine. That was also very hard.
Be excited about the game you are making, for sure, but be more excited about the process of making games. To quote The Way of Kings, one of my favorite books of all time,
Now I can't use
journey
engines,
before destination.
unfortunately.
But like every journey, you need to know where you are going. And in the context of indie development, you need to know who's going to buy and play your game. So often developers focus on what they want or even what their close few friends want, and not what the majority of others want. Making
Yeah,
something
that's
reminiscent
true.
to Homer's car in The Simpsons, with the bubble and...
See, so this is the reason why I went from MMORPG controls in my game to automatic abilities. Essentially, it was the inspiration to autocast, to no longer autocast these abilities in an MMORPG style or in a MOBA style, but let these units autocast the abilities themselves. And that made the game turn more into a tower defense game rather than I click on a hero, use the ability, click on a hero, use the ability, click on a hero, use the ability. So basically, before what you had to do was this. Right, if you had 5 units using this ability, you would have to click on all of these and then manually use that ability. Now they just use it themselves. They just use it whenever it's off cooldown. And so that improved my game a lot. And I did that not because I really wanted that, but because that was needed so that the average player would enjoy the game much more.
horns and all the other weird bells and whistles. I'll say the same thing I've said to hundreds of others I've consulted. What someone should have said to Homer and his half-brother when they were making
He's consulting, okay, maybe like would be okay.
this car. Stop building and go talk to people. This is the second step to avoiding Homer level of failure and should be done before you ever write a single line of code. Take your ideas to players. See what they like, but also what they don't like. Get feedback. Don't follow the
but
advice
did
to
the
players.
Stardew
See
Valley
what they like,
creator
but also what they
or go for a quick turner via your butchering knife? Eh, that's just someone enjoying the game. Eh?
don't like. Get feedback. Don't follow the advice of those that say, if Ford had asked people what they wanted, they would have asked for a faster horse, not a car. I hate that quote. I can promise you Ford talked to people. And when he heard them say they wanted a faster horse, he was smart enough to read between the lines and understand that they wanted to travel faster. Do the same. Listen to what people have to say. Not just the words, but the feelings. This will give you so many ideas and help you create something you never thought possible. Don't assume that you know better than others. I made this mistake with my first company I started, an edtech company called SpeechCloud. I made all sorts of assumptions about my market, and because I didn't validate these assumptions, I ended up crashing and burning and having to pivot. I was too hot-headed, thinking I knew best, and I was too lazy to get out of the house and talk to people. The BattleBit team also made this mistake. They were so focused on creating a squad-like game, not realizing their community didn't want what they were making. And because they didn't validate and listen to players, it cost them years of development.
The legacy version of Valorant was completely hardcore. And it somewhat failed back then because there was no audience for an extreme hardcore blocky game. And then we made it more casual.
Realize you don't know what people want.
Hardcore blocky game. What does that mean? It would have been cool to see an example of this. Why do people always talk in generalistics? I hate that. What does he mean, hardcore?
Realize you don't know what people want and just ask. Don't take everything to heart.
Do you guys have the original video? Like the interview? Do you guys know where to find that?
As much as you can. This will help you avoid the huge pitfalls when you're in the middle of development, thinking you have something cool, and then you launch your game and...
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But even then, how do you know this dude yelling in the back is actually someone you should be listening to? How do you know you are talking to the right people? Oftentimes, we solicit feedback from individuals that will never...
Steam-powered squad-like game, okay. The squad is a tactical FPS that provides authentic combat experience through teamwork, communication, and realistic combat. It bridges the gap between arcade shooter and military realism with 100 player battles, combined arms warfare, and base building. So it's very realistic. I guess the hardcore players also take graphics into account. Yeah, that could be it. You're right. More health, simpler mechanics around damage, less damage mechanics for guns. Less mechanics, simpler loadouts, less guns. More health, okay. So you die faster in these realistic games. So that's one point. That would have been cool in the video, because then it provides actual knowledge, and then you can suck up this knowledge and like remember, so they tried this, that didn't work for them. Interesting.
Ever play our game? Talking to the guy that hates JRPGs about our JRPG.
That's wrong.
We just have to do 27 more potato side quests so that my guy can swim 3% faster.
To find the right player base, you need to research your market. Specifically, research the genre you are entering. This information will be your foundation to help you determine how to build your game, and is the third step to avoiding failure.
Why not do market research while you're building your game? Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm a person that needs to get into the action, and the longer I wait, the more anxious I get and sad I get. Like, for example, before I started streaming, I needed to wait a week because I was scared that before, like, you have to create like this small company in order to be able to stream and earn money and, you know, get money from YouTube, even if you don't earn money yet. And you could potentially be held liable if you don't do that. And so I was very afraid of that happening. So I think I had to wait like 1 or 1.5 weeks before I could start streaming. And every single day I felt worse and worse and worse before I could start streaming, because it was like, I want to start already, but I can't. It was, you need an actual company to stream. You need an actual company to earn side money or self-earned money. So for example, if you make a YouTube video, it blows up, it earns you $1,000, $2,000 or euros, then in Germany, you need a company for that says that you are self-employed to pay tax and stuff like that. Yeah, if you don't earn enough, you don't have to pay tax, but that's just how it is, right? So I had to wait, essentially. And so this, to me, feels like, oh, I need to research the market before I start. That, to me, feels like waiting too. And I can only speak from my own experience. That feels like, oh, I just want to start, but I can't. But maybe do this throughout, like the entire time. Start, but also do market research. Start it from the very beginning. Just like if you want to do art, you can't pay someone for art. Start with the art at the very beginning. Don't wait for it. Do it throughout. You will learn art while making the game. Is that even for like 10 euros a month? Yeah. Something like that too.
Know your market. Now this may sound too businessy for some people, thinking, I'm just a game developer. I don't need to know about the market. I just need to focus on making a great game. And if that is your mentality, well, I hope I can change your mind, because you aren't just a developer. You are an entrepreneur. You're starting a business that requires you to be a lot more than just a coder or an artist.
I mean, he's right, but I don't like the word entrepreneur. Like, it's so money focused. But it's right, though. You need to focus on, or you need to manage money so you don't run out of business. It is true, though. Yeah. I totally disagree with
You need
Cakez.
to wear every hat, from development to marketing, or at least a few hats if you have a team, and you or someone needs to know your market. Now, some people may be asking, what even is a market? How do I know I'm talking to the right player base? And how do I possibly determine a market's potential?
talk
I'll do my best to explain using an
Tower
example.
defense enjoyers.
Something simple. Imagine
Example.
you really like match apps.
Yeah.
And you want to make one yourself. Something like Candy Crush.
Yeah.
All games are tied to some kind of base genre, whether it's puzzles, platformers, shooters, or a variety of others. We know Candy Crush is part of the puzzle game market because of Steam tags, App Store tags, and tons of other classifiers. So to determine your market or genre, you need to find similar games to yours by looking at the tags and listening to how players classify similar titles to the one you are making. But puzzle games come in all shapes and sizes. Portal and Candy Crush are both labeled as puzzle games, and I can tell you right now that my Candy Crush loving grandma is not picking up Portal anytime soon. So the demographics are very different. This is why we have sub-tags, which are often called sub-markets or sub-genres, with puzzle games like Portal, Unpacking, Candy Crush, and Babo's You all sitting in their own categories and with their own player bases. Portal is known as a puzzle platformer, where Candy Crush is a match 3 puzzle game.
Yeah,
so for
that's
our
different.
example, we would want to look at the match 3 sub-market, not puzzle platformers, to know who is
But I mean, that's obvious, isn't that? Like, am I the only person that finds this obvious? If I'm making a tower defense, it's obvious, right? That I don't look at Portal when I make a game like that. I look at games that look like this and feel like this.
target player base. Just look around on websites or Steam and you'll find all sorts of data and information. For match 3 games, this is what I found. 60% of match 3 players are female and the majority are in
I think that fits because the majority of females that game that I've have met in my life played that game as well.
the age range of 25 to
Like, they
34.
knew that
On
game
another
in
website, they
particular,
broke down
Candy
match
Crush.
3 player archetypes, showing why certain people play match 3 games. Another one showed which matching style was more successful in certain countries. I could keep going. There was a crazy amount of demographic information on match 3 games. A little creepy, in all honesty, but you get it. All this information and research tells me who my target player base is and what match games are and aren't successful. Some genres won't have as much data, so you'll need to dig a little more. But what about my market's potential? How do I determine making this game is worth my time? Well, let's imagine if no other puzzle games existed and every person in the puzzle market bought your Candy Crush game. You would make $15 billion, according to the most recent puzzle market revenue. That was great, right? That, of course, is unrealistic. As I explained, the puzzle market has all sorts of variance in its player base. So it doesn't matter how amazing your puzzle game is, you're not making $15 billion.
That looked complicated.
Because not every puzzle player has the same taste. So we need to look at the sub-market of your game to determine the actual potential. If we look at the match 3 revenue numbers, we can see the market averages $1 billion or $2 billion a year.
I mean, what he's talking about here is this, right? You go to game stats and then you search for team tags. And then you probably want to search by the revenue median, right? And then you can see that, okay, Mozo, not really sure what that means. Never played these types of games. These look like more Japanese type games. Very interesting. But let's ignore that for now, right? We can see that some of these games are very lucrative. Trains seems to be decently high, you know. Oh wow, World War II. Okay. World War I, what the fuck? So yeah, you can use this site to determine, okay, well, how much could I potentially earn? It's fine, beautiful. Yeah, there we go. 48. So this is what he's talking about mostly. But I feel like, so like, not to get the wrong idea, that's true, right? That is true. Horses was making billions. Yeah, horses too. My worry about this is not that you shouldn't do this, but if you focus too much on these things, which is what most people or most AAA studios do, well, you end up with games that have souls, that have no soul, that have no love. And so I think what's coming to short, I guess what he's trying to say is take away some of that love and put it into these marketing things, but don't lose that love. But I feel like it's not emphasized enough. But I also haven't released the game yet, so take it with a grain of salt. Can only speak once I release. Well, we'll see,
Not
right, what he's going to say.
But still a big chunk. Now we know the market and its highest potential. We need to determine how our game would perform within the match 3 genre. This is where that research you did comes in handy. What games are similar to yours? How do they perform? What platforms do they perform well on? If we look at the highest match 3 performers, we can see the top 5 have 85% of the market share. This tells me that the match 3 genre is dominated by a few companies and that it's unlikely an indie game can swoop in and capture the market. And if we look at the bottom 5 on this list, their revenue starts tapering off pretty quickly. If we also look at the average match 3 games, we can see the majority don't get over 5K downloads and they make less than $5,000 each.
Yeah, it's so
according
saturated.
To some Android data and Steam data I found. All this information tells us what is likely
It basically says this market is saturated. Yeah.
to happen. Your game may blow up, but most likely your match game will make a few $1,000s. So if you plan on making a match 3 game that will take a year to create and $50,000 in investment, then it's likely to be a commercial failure. But if you make a match 3 game in a month with only $200, then it could be a huge success. All this information is not meant to dissuade
That's
you
a
from
good
making
idea.
games, but to inform. To help you make educated decisions and set reasonable expectations.
See, so what he's on about here is right. That's really something I wanted to do as well. If I ever get the chance, like, try to pick a genre that I like first. Like, I want to pick a genre that I enjoy making, right? If I don't enjoy the genre, like, I'm not going to make a horses game, guys, okay? Absolutely not. But what we saw with the mountain game, right? A relaxing mountain game, where you spend time and then earn achievements, it looks like. Why not make a game that's so centered around a, what is it called? It's not a sea, a lake, right? A nice lake. We learn how to do 3D engine stuff, nice lighting, reflections, PBR, physics-based rendering, all of this stuff. And then, have like a beautiful game that has a very high price range. And then just, sell that game that's done after a month, right? Water simulator. Something like that, right? It will get 3 sales. No, I think it would get more.
In a recent conversation I had with an indie developer, we were talking about his platform fighter he was making. He told me he'd been working on his game for a few years, and all he needed was $200,000 to finish his game. This immediately set off some red flags in my head. So I asked him, how big was the market? He wasn't entirely sure. But together, we did a little research and discovered that the top 10% of indie platform fighters make an average of $400,000 to $800,000. Not bad, but remember, this is the top 10%.
Okay, so he's got to have a 10% chance.
The developer was spending years making this platform fighter, trying to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in investment, only for his game to maybe make a little more than what would be invested. That's not good.
I see.
No legitimate publisher or investor is going to give that kind of money with such a low return on investment. So you need to understand your market and have reasonable expectations. But why do AAA games do so well when so many indies struggle?
They got money or don't. Exactly. That's why they do well. AAA games are still doing well. Yeah, they're still doing well in terms of sales numbers, but at least the gamer reception is really bad. Less well, but still well, yeah. The gamer reception, like if you're talking about the games that, try to sell for $120 and then sell you a season pass on top, or sell you in-game power. Can you show us your data? I can show you these nuts, bitch.
Plays from indies. Well, it's our 4th and last reason most indie games fail. Good old marketing. Most indie games fail because the devs don't market their game, or they do it.
I hope he goes into making a good game, bro. Because we see so much conflicting advice out there. And I think the best advice is to make a fucking good game.
Now, it will take a whole video to cover the issues of marketing in the indie dev space. And if you're interested in that video, subscribe and let me know that you're interested. Or you can actually check out some of our Patreon content.
It doesn't guarantee success, yeah.
But let's just keep it all simple for now. Indie studios struggle because they don't spend enough time or money on marketing, and when they do, they market their game to the wrong people. Like I explained before, most devs don't understand who their target player base is. They just throw crap on social media thinking somebody will see their post and will sell their game like hotcakes.
Baby needs a new pair of shoes.
Sadly, that doesn't work. Marketing is about value, specifically content marketing.
Okay.
So when you create that social media post or devlog, ask yourself, what value does my audience get watching this video or reading this post?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is it inspirational? Is it educational? Yep. Is it entertaining?
Are you not entertained?
Don't tell me about your game. Deliver some sort of value.
Yeah.
Make me want to watch or make me want to read. And secondly, deliver value to the right audience. Just because you get 100,000 views on a video doesn't mean those views convert into wishlist or sales. Great example is actually the indie game we highlighted in a recent video, Tanks but no tanks. I've been chatting with Thomas, the developer, doing some free consulting, and his biggest issue was awareness, like most indie developers. So I gave him some advice, and I told him we would highlight his game in one of our videos to try driving more people to his Steam page. I linked his game below, by the way. Lazily, I chose to highlight Thomas's game, Tanks But No Tanks, in the video I was working on at the time. Counter-Strike should be dead by now. That video has done well and has hundreds of thousands of views. But what's odd is that even though Thomas's game has gotten thousands of eyes on it, Tanks But No Tanks has only seen a few sales from the Counter-Strike video. This is a great example of poor marketing by me. Tanks But No Tanks is more of a party game, something you would find yourself playing on a Nintendo console, not something
Maybe the game just isn't funny and looks interesting, bro, but sorry, what is this supposed to look like? It's fucking boxes, a green background, this is all one color, and then some peanuts. Sorry, bro, but why doesn't he go into this at all? Like, this doesn't look appealing at all. What is he talking about? The colors are totally washed out. Looks like a Flash game. I would have played like 10 years ago, yeah. Bullet facing wrong direction immer? No, it's like der Stängel am Ende und die Zigarette anzünden vorne. In Englisch halt. Ne?
Party game, something you would find yourself playing on a Nintendo console, not something being played by competitive FPS sweats like Counter-Strike. So I screwed up. Imagine instead if I did a video on old classic Wii games and how fun they were. Then I showed Tanks But No Tanks at the end. What do you think his conversion would be like then? What do you think his conversion would be like if I talked about his game in a more relevant way within a video instead of at the end where people drop off? Like what I'm doing right now. This is the key to marketing. You need to know where the audience is, what social platforms they're on, what value you can give them, and why they should care. All this being said, it's critical to remember that games are not just businesses. It's not so cut and dry on why certain games fail and then others succeed. There's emotion and culture and social implications involved that add too much variance. But the reason so many indie games fail is because they forget it's art and business combined. You can make the most
Make a good game.
Amazing game, and if you can't get it in front of the right audience, it doesn't matter. So you need to change your passion, research your market, determine its potential.
It's a great example of the Reddit post I linked earlier. Yeah.
If you do that, you will drastically lower the chances of failure. And remember, failure is 90%. You will drastically
change your passion, research your market, determine its potential. So this is like 90% of marketing. He's not going into making a good game at all.
Lower the chances of failure.
Good morning, hey Prodigy.
Failure is 90% perspective.
Making
if you wanted to publish your
indie
game and that's all you wanted to achieve, it doesn't matter if your game makes money as long as that was your goal. One man's failure is another man's success. So be like John Romero and just fall in love with the process of creation. If you do that and you put some effort into the business side of indie games, don't be surprised when you find yourself making a successful indie game. Be like the developer of the 3 failed games I featured at the beginning. Keep making games till one of them succeeds.
Yeah, that's
now,
a good point.
To end this video, we're going to give Thomas some more love.
He got lucky?
He worked
No,
really
he
hard
didn't
on
get
his
lucky.
game, and he aspires to be an indie dev for the long haul.
It didn't work out, bro. It went from 13 reviews to 15. Okay, he got 2 more.
So go pick up a copy of Tanks But No Tanks and tell your friends. Best of luck to all of the indie devs out there. Keep grinding and make it happen. See ya.
Keep grinding. Make it happen. See ya. A truly good game is gonna get the recognition that it deserves. Yeah, that's true. A good game is gonna get the recognition. If it's not good enough, it's not good enough. It has obvious flaws. If people don't fix them, if the developers don't focus on them, then it doesn't matter how much you polish. I mean, the best example of this is marketing done right. Immortals of Avernum. This one right here. Take it from them. They spent huge amounts of market research. They had like 300,000 Twitch viewers on release. And their player numbers? It's 40, bro. It's 40. 1 month? Yike. I have a good example of good marketing not paying off because the loop is meh. If you want to see it, sure. TikTok, Pantheon Games. That's his marketing. Wow. 2 million likes. 7 years later. Ah, it's this game. I remember we talked about that game. It's got 1 million views. And so if this has 1 million views, what I saw a good view to like ratio was 10:1. So if you have 1,000 views, 100 likes would be really, really good. He has 200,000 likes. That's even more crazy. That's insane. So he has 2 likes in 10 views. That's crazy good. So people really like that. Because you can't just look at the views, guys. You have to look at the views to likes ratio. So why do I know that? Because I do this too. And I get much less likes. I get like 1 like in 30. My posts are dog shit. You know, I get like 1 like in 40. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm so bad. It's insane. It didn't seem to pop off. Okay, let's see. And so that's the game. And then this is on Steam. Oh, wow. Holy shit. That is absolutely nothing, yeah. The TikTok went viral on Reddit a while ago. Guess he didn't capitalize on it properly. I think the game is just not fun. Let's see. What do people say? Not much for gameplay. Very repetitive. There we go. So many thoughts, so many expectations, but barely any fun to be found. 0.9 hours. This guy played 1.5 hours. This guy played 1.6 hours. This is the only exception. 24 hours. Okay, good. 1.7 hours recommended. Like, this tells me that he can barely keep someone for 2 hours. Awesome passion, but overall it's pretty repetitive. Again, repetitive. People quit early. Look at this. I think Steam takes... I'm not sure about this, but if I was managing Steam, I would take into account for how long people play my game and the amount of sales I have. So again, like, it all boils down to, like, make a fun game. Make the most fun game you can do. The most engaging, fun gameplay loop you can. Even a stick man, black and white, can be an art style. You don't have to be the most craziest person, you know, trying to make art. Yeah. By the way, this game failed because it's just way too bright. Look at those fucking effects. Like, you can barely see anything. Look at this. While this looks cool and all, you get like... Whoa, 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 whoa!